Hey everyone, welcome to a very special episode of Spin It Reviews. So if you guys have been on Twitter the last couple days, you would have probably seen this little news story that's come out recently that B.o.B, rapper, producer, multi-instrumentalist, all that, has come out as a flat earth conspiracy theorist. And now the reason I'm making this video isn't just to like capitalize on a news story or anything like that. Here's the thing, a lot of people are saying, oh, I haven't heard about this guy since like 2010 and 2012, like when has he last been relevant? Here's the thing though, if you guys have been keeping up with this channel over the last couple of years, B.o.B has been a very recurring artist for me, just because I was a fan of those earlier projects like The Adventures of Bobby Ray and Strange Clouds, as well as mixtapes like No Genre, B.o.B vs. Bobby Ray. I saw him as a real talent with a lot of potential to make some really unique takes on modern hip-hop, but this painful streak started with mixtapes coming up like Fucking With Ball, and later his third commercial record, Underground Luxury, which showed him going in a really commercial trap direction. The next year, the first thing I actually reviewed on this channel was the woefully titled No Genre 2 mixtape, and last year, 2015, was an especially prolific era for him, shall we say. It started off with a label compilation that I was kind of indifferent on, didn't even bother doing a video on that. Then he released Psychedelic Thoughts, which I actually thought was a pretty good return to form. Saw him going in more of the real instruments and kind of rockish direction. Wasn't perfect by any means, but I still thought it was a good sign of things to come. Unfortunately, come December, he dropped his Water mixtape, which showed him going in a much more wake up you sheeple, tinfoil hats for everyone aggressive direction. By that I mean it was 35 minutes of him just spouting off conspiracy theories. And of course, because he has no quality filter nowadays, he released another mixtape just a couple weeks ago in January 2016 called Fire. These both being acronyms of the elements, which he thinks are kind of clever but are more just clunkily worded. I digress. This one I thought was a slight improvement. It did have a couple more legitimate points related to how the media covers news stories and all that. But my main problem with these two mixtapes was, well, I can show you guys by comparing it to my favorite and least favorite songs from No Genre, probably his most acclaimed project, or at least his most acclaimed mixtape. The good example being the song Dr. Aiden, where he goes into a very real news story that came out in the 80s about the government's possible connection to the AIDS epidemic. From what I've heard about it, it was very compelling, mostly because it was based in real events. Unfortunately, my least favorite song on that was The Watchers, which is essentially him telling everyone about the Illuminati and the Shadow Organization and all that. Basically a serious version of that Weird Al song Foil. So naturally, why not dedicate 2 whole mixtapes to talking about this stuff? And so defensively at that. If it's just more Illuminati stuff, I can kinda pass it by. You know, a lot of hip-hop tends to be affiliated with that, whether through rumors or like some stuff that people claim is evidence or whatever. Personally, I don't. So I was willing to let it slide, and keep in mind at this point I'm kind of looking for a reason to hop off the B.o.B bandwagon altogether, just because this has been kind of a musical abusive relationship, if you don't mind being a little insensitive with that little analogy. So imagine my relief. B.o.B just started all of a sudden tweeting this stuff. Prime example being when he tried to prove the Earth had no curve and was flat by saying that there was no curve over 16 miles of the Earth's entire circumference. Like, how can I take anything you ever say seriously if like such a blatant misunderstanding of like kindergarten math and just elementary school science is shown here? Oh, but no, you're not going to trust that because kindergarten science class is just what the government wants to tell you and all that. Listen, Bobby Ray, I don't have a problem with you believing crazy things. I mean, I get it, separate the artist from the art. But the problem, you've been doing exactly the opposite. Because all this stuff is directly about your crazy, unfounded beliefs that are just based on theories without the slightest bit of evidence and are just really far-fetched and defensive and all that. What I'm saying is that Beck doesn't make love songs about Xenu. And in a more recent development, he made a diss track against Neil deGrasse Tyson. And the song includes such gems as using a Holocaust denier as evidence against his points. And look, you can disagree with the guy all you want. I do personally. I'm not going to go into my own religious and political beliefs here just because that's not really the point of the video. But I have my own viewpoints that can be considered a little silly by some people. But I don't try to push it on people, especially in the music I make. By the way, that album coming out later this year. Look forward to that. Get hyped. But back to my main point. This is going to be my last video about B.o.B. because he's frankly not worth giving the time of day anymore. I mean, I think I've talked about him, what, 5-6 times? My review of Jake Lambo, a signee on his No Genre label who's showing far more potential than B.o.B. has in the last couple of years. And I think I'm going to stick around for that guy since he's clearly got more going on up here than you do, that's for sure. The point is, this guy is pretty well tread ground at this point, and he hasn't really done anything up to the level of the stuff that made me a fan of him in the first place, and this is just the nail in the coffin for me. I finally have a reason. Cutting it off here. If you guys want to attack me in the comments for believing, like, that I'm a clone set up by the Illuminati, or that 16 miles determines the Earth's entire circumference, that example is just the tip of the iceberg that I'm pretty sure B.o.B. thinks is 2D. But yeah, that's all I have to say in this video here. Share this around with anyone who might be interested. Like my Facebook and Twitter pages in the description, where I might do some follow-up if anything else comes out of this little news story here. And yeah, hopefully I'll see you in the next episode of Spinner Reviews. Bye. It's really tragic to me. Bobby Ray is going off the deep end, you see. Everybody knows it's really tragic indeed. Beefs with astrophysicists for relevancy. Now everybody knows it's really tragic, tragic, tragic. Tragic, 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 oh tragic, 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 ooh. It's really tragic to me. Thank you. Oh, don't worry guys, I was really playing these chords. I've been replaced by the Illuminati with some musically inept synthetic robotoid.